What's going on, guys? Andrew of Newbark Gaming back here today, and welcome to Newbark News for February 8th, 2019. Now, starting out today's news lineup, we've got an article coming to us from GameSpot detailing how a Pennsylvania state representative, Chris Quinn, is posing the idea of putting a violent video game tax on any game sales of games rated M or A. So with that being the case, that would basically mean that they've got an increased 10% sales tax on video games. So they've got their state's already existing sales tax, then this additional one on top of it. So in a state like Pennsylvania, where they've got a 6% sales tax to begin with, by the time you throw on this additional 10%, you'd be talking about something like a $70 price tag for an M-rated game that is new to release, assuming it started with a $60 price point. So that definitely makes things a lot more expensive. Now, there's been a lot of backlash in regards to this, and it's yet to be seen whether anything will actually happen. Now, the idea that Chris Quinn's posing, supposedly, is that he's going to be using the tax in order to use those funds to essentially combat school violence. The idea between the correlation between violent video games and school violence is the case that a lot of people have been trying to make for a very long time now, and that is that there is a correlation between kids playing violent games and then committing violent acts. Now, the evidence to be able to back that up is kind of hit or miss, and I've heard very mixed things over the years, so I'm not going to get into that a whole ton, and I'm actually not going to discuss my opinions on this a whole ton either. I plan on discussing it with Logan on the podcast on Sunday, so if you want to hear my thoughts, be sure to tune into that. But on the whole here, I can see how you can make a very strong case for this possibly being an issue of freedom of speech and like a form of soft censorship against that. But once more, I'll get into that more on Sunday. So let's go and dive into our second article for the day, which is going to be the first of several detailing a bunch of video game sales going on right now. And this one's coming to us from GameSpot. It's about PlayStation Network having one of their many flash sales they do several times a year starting today. Now, this one is putting a bunch of AAA titles that came out sometime during the fall, roughly, of last year on sale, and while a lot of the sales aren't massive, you can still get some deals on some pretty good titles. For example, Darksiders 3 is down to $48. If you want the ultimate, like, Blades and Whips edition, that's $70. Fallout 76 was down to $36. Monster Hunter World was down to $25. Tetris Effect, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you can actually try for free, and it's also down to $30. It was apparently a really good puzzle game, and they've got a whole slew of other games on this list as well. If you want to see the full list, the GameSpot article is in the description below. I think this is one of the cool things that PlayStation's been doing this generation. I think a lot of digital game download services have been catching on to in order to keep up with a service like Steam, is that you need to have sales from time to time in order to help keep people intrigued, and a lot of times the amount you can boost the number of things you're selling can boost your sales totals enough that it doesn't really likely hurt you all that much. And while we're on the topic of game sales and the PlayStation 4, the Indie Humble Bundle sale is on right now. And essentially what this is, for those of you unfamiliar with it, is a bunch of indie game developers get together, they bundle their games into this sort of collection of sorts, then you can donate an amount of your choosing, and the amount that you choose to donate will essentially determine the size of your bundle. They then send you download codes for a bunch of their piled together indie games that you can use on your platform. So for instance, if you just donate $1 or more right now, you get access to Grim Fandango, Bard's Tale, and the Inner Space game. If you donate $10.29 or more, then you're going to get access to 4 more games. If you donate $15 or more, you're going to get 2 more games in addition to that. And the awesome thing about this is then you're also going to be supporting a charity, and that's where the whole Humble Bundle thing comes into play, is that then you get to choose a charity of your choice that the proceeds are going to go towards. The top 3 that big 3 they're kind of supporting right now are going to be Game Changer, Save the Children, and a foundation that works against Rett syndrome. So these are all really awesome to see in action, that you've got people kind of working on this in order to help donate charity. It gives access to players like us to games for a lot cheaper, so the PlayStation 4, which is a great console, and it's just overall a really cool experience. So outside of those first 3 I listed, you've also got Layers of Fear in here, Wasteland 2, The Talos Principle, Broken Age, Killing Floor, and Shadow Warrior. So some really nice titles if you're into indie gaming. And this bundle is going to be going on for the next 3 days and 21 hours as of the time I'm recording this video. So it should be good up and through most of the way through Monday if we're going off Eastern Standard Time here. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our next major game sale. Yeah, the game sales just seem to keep coming at us today. And the next one's going to be detailing some Nintendo Switch games being on sale. And this one's coming to us from IGN. And a lot of these are pretty decent, like, major titles. For example, we've got Super Mario Odyssey on sale for $45 on Walmart.com, Fire Emblem Warriors on sale for $31.88, which is one of the weirdest prices I've read in a while, on Amazon.com, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for $45 on Walmart, Super Mario Party for $49 on Walmart, Splatoon 2's Starter Pack, which essentially comes with like a bonus strategy guide boxed in with it. They've been doing that with a lot of those launch-ish era Switch titles here lately, but that's available at Walmart for the $45. Then you've got Rayman Legends Definitive Edition for $24.77 on Walmart. That's a pretty darn good price for a new Switch game like that. Civilization 6 for $50 on Amazon, Lego DC Supervillains for $36.95 on Amazon, Just Dance 2019 for $29.99 on Amazon, and Snipper Clips Plus on Walmart for $13.86, so another really odd price there. But regardless, that's really awesome to see a lot of these games on sales. I think that these types of sales probably help stimulate the Switch economy even more, plus it gives access to these games to a broader fan base, and a lot of people probably did get Switches around the holidays only a couple months ago. So this is really cool to see. There's actually a couple titles on there I've yet to pick up. I don't think I've picked up any of these yet, so I may end up picking up some of these later this week before the sales go out of play. It hasn't necessarily been announced when they're being stopped yet from what I'm seeing here, but currently they are available, so just a good heads up there. Now, moving away from the sales market for a little bit, Epic Games has added another free PC game available through their store, and that's going to be Axiom Verge. It's going to be free to download through their store if you have an account until February 21st, and one of the cool things about what Epic Games does with their free games, similar to when Steam occasionally throws out a free game to everybody, is that you just have to activate the store, like the game, and add it to your library or whatever before the cutoff date, and then you permanently have access to that game. So another feature in this sort of Steam versus Epic Games war that we see currently going on in the PC gaming market. It's going to be interesting to see how this continues to unfold, given how Epic Games seems to be kind of digging their heels in, getting some extra first-party, quote-unquote, temporary exclusive support, or in some cases, permanent exclusive support, then getting things like free games out to their people. I wonder if they're going to start mimicking the sales Steam does, because those are all like the big features that keep people coming to Steam on the PC gaming market. So this is really cool. Apparently after that, they've also announced they're going to be offering Thimbleweed Park for free as well. And once more, all you really need in order to access these games is an Epic Games account. So nothing really holding you back from doing that here. So overall, pretty cool service that they're getting to start launching. I mean, I'm pretty a loyal Steam customer in the idea that I like a lot of their sales right now, so I won't necessarily sway right away, but just a heads up there in the continuing ongoing fight between Epic Games and Steam. Also, till February 21st is a pretty good chunk of time, so appreciate the heads up, GameSpot.com, on that. So moving right along, our last bit of news for today actually has to do with the PlayStation Vita of all things. Now, I know in a video, it was either earlier this week or sometime last week, I was talking about how PlayStation's pretty much doing their best to put the final nails of the coffin into that article, so it seems odd to be getting some news for this. But other than just playing the games developed for it, a lot of people like to use the Vita for another purpose as well, and that is as a powerful emulation device. So essentially, what's really cool about this is that in this article, which is coming from Mololo.net, we find out that Team XZs, which is another hacking and development team that's been working on the Vita for a while, has developed something for the firmware 3.70, which is an update we got a couple weeks ago for the Vita, which essentially was supposed to make it even harder to hack. It made it so a lot of the older patches involving Henkaku were no longer functional, and everything else, plus if you were on 3.69 firmware, they weren't functional anyway. But on synopsis on this, by the end of it, they show Vita shell functioning, which implies that some of the homebrew that a lot of people like to use is already up and running for 3.70. The people who have done all the Henkaku stuff have already announced that they're going to have 3.70 stuff up later this year. So regardless of which development team gets it running, it sounds like if you're into using the Vita for further like hacking and modding and emulation purposes, your future is pretty secure in these people's hands, and it's just a matter of time at this point. So that is what it is. I love my Vita, so I don't necessarily seek to hack it just because I like the PlayStation Network access, and I don't want to risk anything there, but figured it was good information for those of you seeking to do that type of thing. So with all that being said, guys, that's going to wrap up our episode of New Bark News for today. As always, let me know your comments, theories, questions, remarks, etc. in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If not, constructive criticism is always welcome, and I'll catch you guys next time with some more New Bark News.